In 1935, Father John Pearce was appointed the first chaplain to the deaf community in Melbourne. And originally the John Pearce Centre was located at Ripponlea, and the deaf would travel there from all over Melbourne. And then more recently we've been able to refurbish this church, St Francis Xavier, for our community centre, and to be able to hold a mass here once a month for the deaf community. The John Pearce Centre provides support predominantly to the signing deaf community in Melbourne and throughout Victoria. So people who use sign language and are wanting pastoral support and family support or counselling are people that we would have more regular contact with. We have provided some support to people who are hard of hearing, but often those people are able to get support from other services and other support networks. We have 9 staff here, including a chaplain to the deaf, and next year we'll have a chaplain and an assistant chaplain to assist in that role, and pastoral associates working in the community.
I've been working here at the John Pearce Centre for about 4 years, roughly about 4 years. 2 years part-time and later 2 years full-time. I work every day. My work's it's varied. It's quite broad. I maybe go and visit people in their homes, or most of the people really are isolated and lonely and they have maybe a few issues, so I would visit them and listen to their stories, maybe go back to work and do a few phone calls and help them when I contact organisations and maybe they need some extra food or vouchers, or ring other organisations to get them some support, and maybe they can introduce those organisations to that family.
Our family support program supports deaf parents who feel they need help either with their parenting, with the normal challenges that all parents face. It can be very difficult to get information from local services.
Sometimes they need help with their Centrelink paperwork or bills, or they can't understand the English on that. So with my computer, I could go through the relay service system and National Relay Service, or a TTY system. It's like a third person in the communication link. The deaf will sit there and watch me type and use that system, and hopefully they can practice that and use that at home.
Auslan is the visual language of the deaf community in Australia. It's a shortening of Australian Sign Language, so we end up with Auslan. And it's the language it's a visual and gestural language.
Yeah, so it's easier for communication and more relaxed, yeah. And when the parents are deaf, it's easier for me to go as a deaf adult. Yeah, so then the hearing child will work with a hearing worker.
CODA is an acronym for Child of Deaf Adult. The public perception is often that your parents are disabled, or there's something strange with them, and maybe mum and dad for that reason don't participate much in school. They may not feel comfortable, and teachers sometimes aren't aware that they need to provide interpreters, and they'll try and use the child as an interpreter, and so there's lots of communication issues.
John Pearce Centre's different because with the other agencies, I've worked with other agencies before for 15 years, and John Pearce Centre is different because it's more, not free, but more flexible. They can help more spontaneously. For example, if a client has an appointment with another agency, they have to go through a duty worker, and then maybe they're on the list, and then they've got to see a case manager. So it can be quite an elongated process. But here at the John Pearce Centre, it's no real waiting list. They want to see me, they can come. It doesn't matter if the problem's only a simple problem. Yeah, we can easily sort those little problems out.
On the 13th and 14th of November, the Melbourne Archdiocese gives us permission to actually approach about 26 parishes, and a deaf person and a volunteer interpreter will go and just talk a little bit about how the John Pearce Centre has impacted their life, and the work that we do here. And that's really our main appeal for the year, and it's a really good way, I think, for the John Pearce Centre and the broader Catholic community to link and for people to be more aware of the fact we even have a mission to the deaf, and that we actually provide pastoral work to the deaf community, because I know in the broader community people aren't aware of that and they don't really understand why we'd be doing that. But I think it's really important that the community does have the deaf community does have a strong connection to the Catholic Church.